need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
Hello there. I am really excited to be joined by a special guest today. So often it's just me alone answering your questions, talking into a microphone, staring at myself on video, hoping that I'm reaching you guys. But today I actually get to connect with someone, have a conversation, and you get to meet her too. This is Lisa Morton. Some of you may already know her from her podcast, Feng Shui Living. But I am so excited to have her join me today. Lisa, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Betsy. Thank you so much for having me. I've so enjoyed listening to your podcast, and I'm so excited to be here chatting with you today.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. Now, for those people who may not know who you are, would you mind giving a brief introduction about you, your podcast, and then I want to dig in more in depth.
Sure. So I'm a holistic interior designer, and I focus on holistic design and Feng Shui. I'm passionate about Feng Shui. I've been in the design world for 20 years, but having this approach to improve someone's health and well-being is so important, and I think it's so needed. So I'm really passionate about doing this work, offering this work, as well as educating others through various courses and certifications. And then also my podcast, Feng Shui Living, where I share cute, fun, easy tips and tricks that you can implement in under 25 minutes or less.
Amazing. Well, I'm kind of doing this spotlight. It's been on my mind lately about how people got their start, because I'm writing a memoir all about how I got started in design 2 decades ago. And it was a really windy, unexpected path. And I think a lot of listeners are curious about interior design, or maybe want to use their creativity, but they're like, I didn't go to school for it, or I didn't know when I was 18 that I wanted to do this, so my ship has sailed. And I'm really curious, what was your path? How did you get into interior design and ultimately find your way to this more holistic approach?
Sure. So it's really interesting starting my podcast, because prior to design school, I went to school for communications. So that's been a little bit of a full circle moment. But I grew up in a small town in Iowa, right? We had one designer who hung draperies, I remember, for my grandmother. I didn't really know what design was, but I knew I loved it. I would take my mother's Better Homes and Gardens magazines and I would color things in. And then I learned how to draw floor plans, and, it was just fascinating. But I didn't really understand that was a career. That was a job, right? So I went to school for communications and just didn't find myself really fulfilled. So fast forward, I went back to school for design. I did a little residential design immediately out of school. And then I was lucky in my early 20s to land my dream job. And I designed private jet interiors for several years. And, small town girl from Iowa, got to travel around the world, meet outrageous people, use outrageous materials. I mean, I did carpeting with fiber optic lighting going down, the walkway, and outrageous stone inlays in tabletops, and, it's just whatever you could. I mean, it's outrageous to think about some of the materials and things. And it was great fun, right? The designer in me had a really fabulous time doing this, but the pressure, Betsy, it was just so intense. It wasn't a $3,000 rug. It was a $30,000 rug, our carpet in the plate, right? These, the budgets, these projects, it was 30, 40, $50 million jet interior. So it was just a lot. And I wasn't prepared for it.
Now, where was the pressure coming from? Was it coming from the client? Was it coming from the company you were working for? Was it coming from just the budget and just that feeling? Where was the struggle specifically?
It was a lot of pressure from, of course, the client, right?
Yeah,
These clients can afford so much, and they want exactly what they want. They want it now, today. The company was pretty good, but also myself, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and I say, I was kind of joke about this. Being a child of the 80s and 90s, we didn't sit around. I don't know about you, but my family didn't sit around and talk about stress reduction techniques. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was just, overwhelmed with stress and how what is this? What is even happening to me? And so fast forward, I was like, I went to the doctor, honestly, because I thought I was having a heart attack one day. Yeah, it was really scary.
Wow.
So I ended up getting help and I worked on myself. I started meditating. I started doing yoga. I started eating the right foods. I started exercising every day, doing all the things you're supposed to be doing, but I was still struggling. So for me, I had this turning point. I was looking at my home and I'm like, my home isn't supporting me. The designer in me had made this beautiful home. It was beautiful. It was photo shoot ready,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't really supporting me energetically. And then I dove in even more and I started exploring this holistic approach to design. And I started exploring Feng Shui a little more. I knew little bits and pieces. I knew a lot about color and I've always been fascinated with color. And I'm looking around and in my bedroom, I had a red headboard. No wonder I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah.
It was cute, but no wonder I wasn't sleeping. And I was stressed out at night.
What are some other
So,
examples? Because I'm
oh
imagining this
gosh.
magazine ready space that people would aspire to live in, and yet you're not comfortable, you're having anxiety. How many years were you in that job? Like, how do you know it's job versus your space or both? Do you know?
I think it's both, really. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I think we always need in our environment to support us, whatever
Mm.
we're going through in life, right? And we can
Mhm.
set it up to support us. I think maybe if I had taken those steps, to implement yoga, meditation, all that therapy, all those things earlier, as well as addressed my home, I would have been better prepared to handle the pressure.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So looking back, it's hilarious to look at my space and, we had I had this animal print obsession at the time and lots of red and shiny things. And it just was so high energy. I remember
Mm.
actually coming home one day from work and I was so stressed out and I didn't know what to do. So I sat on the sofa and I threw a blanket over my head and cried. I'm like, I didn't want to be in my space, but I didn't know what it was making things worse instead of
Mm.
better. You want to go home and relax and rest at the end of the day. And that's what's so important for me to help other people find this because life is hard. Work can be stressful. Life can be stressful, right? We need to have that sanctuary where we can turn off, reset, recharge, and then start fresh the next day.
Right. And
So,
also maybe the feedback that you were getting if your home looked so fabulous, right? And was truly designed and really looked like someone with an eye had come in, even if it was a little energetic. I'm sure you got a lot of positive feedback from friends, from visitors. And so it might have even been harder to realize that the space was the problem. Like, wait, I've invested all this time, energy, and money. Everybody's telling me it looks great, but I'm under a blanket because I can't even deal, right, with what it looks
it's
like.
so
What
true.
is going on? That must have been quite a collision or made it even harder to discover, oh, wait, it's the space. And now it's time for a quick commercial break.
I kind of pushed back a little bit. I
Mm.
wasn't super ready to dive in and explore that space, but it was interesting. We got to a place where I was miserable. I was trying to do everything I could. And my husband got a great job opportunity in another state. So we were like, let's have a fresh start.
Mm.
So we left our jobs, we moved, and we started over. And I was able to this time look at my home fresh, a fresh palette, a fresh eyes, a new home, a new space that I could really intentionally decorate and design to support myself, to support my husband as well. Moving's
Mhm.
always stressful.
Totally. But it's an
So,
opportunity to reevaluate, like what worked with the
yes.
last space, what didn't work. When we're starting with this new opportunity, what new things do we want to explore? what new things do we want to showcase? And also adapting to your new environment. Where were you moving from and to?
Yeah. So we lived in St. Louis and then we moved to Cleveland.
Okay.
And also values too,
Mm.
when I first got into design, I was just out of school and, but we were into our 30s at this time. So it was things change, right? Your interests, your daily life changes over time. Um, so then that's when I really dove into studying the holistic design and Feng Shui. I actually got into Reiki. I
Oh,
did Reiki
interesting.
training and became a Reiki master. And I was like, wow, there's energy in your body. There's got to be like such powerful energy in your home beyond those initial things I knew about. And that's when I really dove in and did a certification in instinctive Feng Shui. So it's called Interior Alignment Instinctive Feng Shui.
Now let's take it back just a little bit because
Okay.
some of my listeners may not be well versed in Reiki, and I only know a little bit about it. So would you give us a definition and then we can build on that to get to the intentional living?
Sure, sure. So Reiki is an energy practice, energy balancing practice of the energy in your body, right? So we have this chakra system. There's 7 major chakras. If anyone does yoga, you may know a little bit about this, but it's creating balance in our body. By balancing these different energy centers. And your home also has various energy centers, which is
Mm.
really great. So when we can bring balance, then everything's in alignment. Then we feel good. Then we feel balanced. We feel confident. We feel strong. We feel ready to take on the day. So once you can, I'm a big believer everybody can bring this balance to their body. You don't have to be a Reiki master. You don't have to be certified and trained. And I'm a big believer we can all do it as long as we can slow down, take on some meditation, take on some yoga, some of those slower things because we're so naturally fast moving, right?
Mm.
We go, go, go. And if you can slow those things down, you can feel what feels out of alignment in your body.
Got it.
Simply put your hand there. If you have a headache, put your hands there. Just think about sending like energy to that area where your head's throbbing or your sinuses are bothering you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you're right. If we get still, even in our own homes, we can think
Mhm.
about going room by room. What room is bringing up anxiety for me? Or even thinking about when people come over, what spaces am I proud to show off? What spaces am I like, close that door, kids? My kids love to
Right.
play hide and seek. And I'm like, do not play hide and seek in my linen closet. Don't nobody need to see that. No. They
That's
they
so
find
funny.
all my little areas, and I'm like, guys, I really didn't want you looking at the attic right now. So there's multiple ways to check in with ourselves and see how we're feeling, not only about our bodies, but then about our space. So
Mhm.
tell me how this segued into you starting a podcast. What did that look
Oh my
like?
gosh. So I had been doing, gosh, I received my first certification in 2011.
Mhm.
And the style of feng shui I practice is called instinctive feng shui. So it recognizes, honors, we employ all the traditional rules and everything, of feng shui. But then in the training, there's this aspect of connecting you to your intuition, right?
Hmm.
Getting slow, getting grounded, really experiencing the space, right? Walking into a space and like absorbing the energy. What does it need? What's it craving, right? Um, and so I've been able to help so many people. I have so many interesting stories, great things that have happened, some struggles with clients and it's just been interesting and I was like, I want to be able to share more of this information with other people. Right?
Mm.
I think
Mhm.
everyone, no matter your income, whether you can afford a full feng shui consultation or not, you deserve a great space to support you. So that's why I wanted to create the podcast, like free, easy tips to implement, like right now, this weekend.
Right. Right. No, I think that's great. And that's exactly my mission too. In fact, if you can't afford that consultation, all the more reason to need to improve your space and tap in. Maybe there's things you need to optimize, right? Or maybe there's things that you've been wanting to do and thinking they're beyond what you can do and really feeling that lack instead of feeling the empowerment of there
Sure.
are so many things that we can do just moving around what we have.
Sure, sure.
And just reevaluating what we're already living with to optimize, right? Versus going out and
Mhm.
getting new things or talking to new people. Sometimes it's just about getting quiet and looking
Yeah,
around. And so I think that that can be a really powerful message to send, that it's not about money. In fact, maybe
right.
that's a drawback in some ways. Um, so I was thinking also that we touch on the season because we're in the summer season, hot and lots of fun stuff going on. But how can we tap into intentional living specifically in
Mhm.
these hot summer months?
Well, slow down, first of all. I don't know about you, Betsy, but everyone I'm talking to these days, I'm connecting with, they're like, oh my gosh, this summer is just crazy and I'm so
Mm,
busy. So this is your little reminder. Just maybe pause a moment and take an extra breath while you're listening to the podcast. But I actually just released a podcast this week called Small Adjustments, Big Impact. Because
mm,
everyone thinks you have to remodel your home and you don't. Like you said, it can be very intentional, small things. Sweeping the floor. Sweeping the floor is one of my fun, quick, easy things to do. You think about on days when you're busy, you have a lot going on, the heat of the summer, your energy is lifted, you need to get grounded. It's important to get grounded. And when your feet are on the earth, on your floor, and there's dog hair, cat hair, debris, food crumbs, you're not getting that connection to the earth. So it's important to sweep your floors. It doesn't take
mm.
that long. You know, take a little moment. I like to make ceremony out of everything. Everything you do, the more intention you can infuse into it, the more powerful it will be. So I might sweep with a mantra or a word. You can say a prayer as you're sweeping your floor and infuse your home with that energy, right? It's a really beautiful practice. Take these little simple things and really infuse it with a lot of love and care.
What's another
Um,
example? As a person who I don't have to sweep because I do have a dog who eats all those crumbs. A non-shedding type. Isn't that nice? I have a non-shedding dog who eats all the crumbs. It's like having a Roomba that I
it's
don't
a
have to plug.
Roomba.
Yeah. I have to walk him, but I don't have to plug him in. What's another example? Because I think that is so interesting. And for me, who really is go, 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 and that's when I have space, I have had some space on these summer weekends, and I've been like, why am I not doing something? Why am I not at the pool? Why are we not at the beach? Like, I don't want to sit inside. I want to be seizing the day.
I
So, what's
know.
another example? Because I think of these tasks like sweeping, which I obviously don't do, but dishes or things like this as tasks
Mhm.
just to get through, to go
Mhm.
to the rest of my life. What's another example of making something a ceremony so that I can really take this in?
Another thing I would love to recommend, I guess, is the welcome mat. If you have a welcome mat outside your front door,
Mhm.
clean it off, shake it off, clean it up. If you don't have a welcome mat, this is your cue to go buy one. A little reminder, add it to the list. Get a beautiful welcome mat. The front door of your home is considered the mouth of qi and feng shui. This is where all this good energy comes into your home. So it's really powerful to have this space, light and bright and clean and tidy and sparkling. So go shake out the front doormat. Shake it out. Maybe sweep up any debris. Make sure any glass on your front door is sparkling. Make sure any flowers outside your front door are still happy. If they're dead, then move on, replace them, or get rid of them. Of course, we don't want any dead flowers in the feng shui world. That's a no-no. But once you enhance it, then check in with those things. Check in that the lock is working. Is the doorknob opening, closing smoothly, right? Is it opening the door opening and closing without squeaking, right? We want that all to function really well. And I want you to use the front door. So many of us come in and go through the garage.
Mm,
So I encourage all my clients to come up with some excuse to use the front door every day if possible.
but why?
Like, just because we want to get that energy moving. We want to get that door
Oh,
opening and closing every day if possible. So I don't have an excuse. I tell clients, I'm like, walk your dog, go get your mail through your front door, come up with some routine. And I personally don't have one, but I will just go to the front door as I'm walking to the kitchen every morning. I open the door, I stick my head out, I look at the weather, take a breath of fresh air, and close it. It can be as simple as that.
Oh my gosh, I
Okay?
have a confession. This is horrible. I feel like you might have Google Lensed or whatever, Google Earthed my house and like are calling me out. Is that happening, Lisa?
I don't know. Sorry.
Because my house has like a front door. It's an old house and it
Okay.
has a formal front door in the formal living room.
Okay.
But there's not even like, there's an old path to it, but nobody has used it. Even has the old family's last name on the door knocker, the original family.
Okay.
And I actually blocked it with a sofa because it just makes the living room more usable, and the layout just works so much better. And I haven't opened that thing maybe 10 times in 2 years. Now we have a side door, which is where all the cars are and where, everybody comes in, where they drop the packages. It's the only thing really visible from the road, but the front door is kind of the showpiece, right?
Mhm.
And you're freaking calling me out because it
I
does
love that we're
leak a
talking about
little.
this.
And I was just thinking, I don't have an overhang. So I buy these
Okay.
beautiful doormats, right? And then they instantly get rained on, get whatever.
Yeah.
And within a week, they look old and gross because there's no sort of portico or overhang or awning. I have been so inspired. I am going to reevaluate choices. So true. And I've just been missing it. Well, I'm already having ahas. I would love to continue this conversation, Lisa. Can you come back with me next week and we can talk a little bit more?
Of course, I would love to.
Before we sign off, quickly tell people where they can find you in the interim, and then we're gonna, see.
Sure, sure. My podcast is Feng Shui Living, Tips for Busy Women. You can also find me on social media at Pure Living with Lisa Morton.
Amazing. A big thank you to our amazing producer, Catherine Heller, to Aton and the MVCR House Band, and to Affordable Interior Design, the sponsor of this podcast and the premier place to get an amazing look on a budget. Check out affordableinteriordesign.com. If you guys love the show, the very best way to support us is by spreading the word. Tell your friends or write us an awesome review on iTunes. So until next week, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.